Okay, yeah.
So fire off. Welcome back to the Joe & Co podcast. Today we have Miss Danielle Fry. You know, and I want to put some context on this. We all ride motorcycles. How would you like to ride on the back of my bike while we're rolling some corners, Matt?
I'm out.
No?
It doesn't sound fun.
No? But you like rolling corners. You can roll.
Oh, yeah.
You can roll right with me. So, I mean, you're just as quick as I am. You don't want to sit on the back while I do that?
No, I don't think it would be enjoyable, the not being in control.
Right.
It sounds terrifying.
Right. What about you, Brandon? Does that sound fun, riding on the back of a bike? Even if it's somebody like you really trusted?
You know when you are like riding passenger in a car and they're braking and you're like slamming your feet into their floorboards? I feel like I'd be doing that the whole time and like break off your passenger pegs.
Right. You know, that's probably kind of similar what I imagine it's like to be the wife of an entrepreneur. So that's why I've asked my wife to come on and, give us her story, but also, kind of specifically the perspective of, man, it's a roller coaster. So we start off every episode asking some icebreaker questions, some simple stuff. Okay. Get you used to the headphones and get you used to hearing your voice on the microphone and the headphones. So what is your favorite kind of pizza?
My favorite kind of pizza?
Yeah.
Meat.
Meat?
Meat.
Okay. What is your biggest pet peeve?
My biggest pet peeve is you leaving laundry all over the house.
Oh, I got thrown under the bus quick in this one. All right. What about some of these questions? I know the answer to already, but
I don't.
Right. So what do you cook? What's the best thing you cook? What is your very best?
Probably my lasagna or my mac and cheese.
Yeah, the mac and cheese is really, really good, but the lasagna got her a husband. Okay, what is your favorite band?
Right now I'm on a Whiskey Meyer kick, but I like all kinds of music. So, I like old country. Johnny is one of my favorites. But I like all kinds of music. Your playlist will go from John Denver to Killswitch Engage to God only knows. So, yeah, I don't really have a favorite band.
Okay. Favorite book?
Favorite book? Really? You're going to make me say it.
I didn't know this one was loaded.
Alice in Wonderland.
Oh, that's cool.
That's a good book.
Yeah.
I was expecting vampire pornography.
I was expecting something I'd have to go Google after this because I had no idea what it was.
Right. Well, I wasn't thinking about, it's been a book for a long, long time. Her, she's got a whole piece of art with all Alice in Wonderland and everything. So
Very cool.
what about your favorite movie? We can loosen it up. It could be a 1 or 2 or 3.
Tombstone or Lucky Number 11?
Yeah.
I've never heard of the
Varsity
second
Blues
one.
too.
Oh, yeah, that's a cool movie.
Lucky Number 11.
Never heard of it.
Josh Hartnett, Bruce Willis. Got to look it up. It's a great revenge movie.
The fucking truck in Varsity Blues, that square body step side. Oh man,
Beautiful.
so cool.
All right. What is your dream vehicle?
My dream.
You got it, $1 million, and you got to spend it on a vehicle.
It's a baby. Supernatural.
For those of us that aren't addicted to television.
I'm not addicted to television.
Okay. For those of us not addicted to the one guy on Supernatural.
He is pretty.
Which one, the long hair or the short hair guy?
Short hair.
Oh, okay.
I gotta like Dean.
Oh, Dean, that's his name.
He's an ass. He's an ass. It's kind of my type. It is a 67 Nova.
Impala.
Nova.
Oh yeah,
Same
the
body
4-door.
style.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool car.
Yeah.
All right. If you could sit down with anybody and have dinner, somebody that you'd be dead now, who would you sit down and have a conversation and supper with?
My grandmother.
Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, I never got to meet her. She she had already passed, but she is like a figure in the family.
Very much so.
Kind of feel like I missed out. Like I had talked about with my grandpa. You felt like you missed out. I missed out on our grandma. What don't you eat?
I don't eat Brussels sprouts. I don't eat cabbage. If it can't get past my nose, it ain't going in my mouth.
Okay. And tell us a little bit about the dogs.
So right now we have 2 dogs, Reginald Cray and Charles Bronson. They are Doberman Mastiff mixes. They are land sharks right now. We're going through that whole land shark phase where they eat and bite everything. We've got one that walks around the house and you can just hear to the air all the time. They are Velcro dogs, which I never knew Dobermans are Velcro dogs. And in hindsight, I probably would have just gotten the one.
What's that mean?
They are with you all the time. They pick
okay.
a person and it's like a Velcro right there all the time. You never pee alone. You never shower alone. I don't do anything alone. I can't sit down on my couch anymore. I can't do anything without a dog there. Cooking, we're trying to learn stay out of the kitchen, which they're not doing very well at. It doesn't help that Joe likes to feed them food all the time. You open the refrigerator, they're right there. They're trying to get in the refrigerator, especially in the freezer, because we've got that bottom freezer. So, yeah.
Yeah. The one is so attached to her that when she's sitting on the couch and he's laying on her lap, he like looks at me like when I come, because he's not aggressive, but he's looking at me like, please don't make me move. I'm with my favorite person in the whole world. Please don't make me move.
Like I was here first, bro.
Right. I called my spot. I called shotgun.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But, it's my favorite person too. So, the dog and I compromise. Because, one day I was laying on her lap. I was laying across her lap and they were outside and they come back in. And he didn't full on try to bite me. He didn't try to headbutt me. The dog flying teabag. I mean, I'm like, oh, no. No.
Oh, shoot.
All right. So I think we're warmed up.
Okay.
So tell me about what it was like growing up.
Growing up, my mom and dad, normal mom and dad, no problems that I knew of. But there were signs. My dad, my biological dad, always did things by himself, or I'd go along and there'd always be women around. Never thought anything about it. When I was 6th grade, my dad had a massive heart attack, and he never moved back in the bedroom with my mom. And things were just kind of a little weird. My 8th grade year, my mom moved to Wichita. I'm from Topeka. My dad stayed in Topeka. I lived with him for a little bit, and then I moved to Wichita, and I hated it. I was in my freshman year about that time, and I hated Wichita. I didn't like the people. I didn't like the school. So I wanted to move back to Topeka, and my dad at that time was living with my grandparents, and I was not allowed to move back home. So my grandmother, my mom's mom, and my grandfather took me in, and they raised me, and I had a lot of people don't get that relationship with their grandmother. My grandmother had had a stroke. She was the head charge in the ER. Little itty bitty lady. She was like 4'9", and I'd watch her take down 300-pound men in the ER. She was awesome, and I got a good relationship with my grandmother. And the day I graduated high school, I packed my bags and I moved to Wichita.
Hey, before we go too far into Wichita, why don't you tell a story about how you got your butt blistered about the basement with your grandma?
So I lived with my grandparents. obviously. They owned 20 acres. And they lived in an old 1901 bungalow-style home. And it had a creepy basement. The creepy cellar. And my grandmother one day asked me to go down and get some beans. And I told her, I don't want to go down there. It's scary. You go first. So she walked down the stairs. And she got about, I don't know, halfway down the cellar steps. And I slammed the door and took off running. And my grandfather found me, actually locked the door on my grandmother. And my grandfather found me in the back tin and hauled my butt up. And my grandmother told me to pick a switch, which is the first time my grandmother ever told me to pick a switch. And I got my butt blistered. But that was the last time I ever got my butt blistered, and that was the last time I ever did anything like that.
Did you mean to lock the door, or did that just kind of accidentally happen?
Oh, I meant it.
Oh, okay.
Because I knew if she got a hold of me, I was done. And I'd rather my grandfather get a hold of me than my grandmother. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
And what'd your grandpa do?
What did my
For work? Because I found it super interesting.
So my grandfather made and designed margarita machines. He worked for Welch's and he made them margarita machines. And one of my favorite stories of my grandfather is my grandfather's Irish. He's actually from Ireland. And St. Patty's Day every year, he would take one of those margarita machines and he'd put all the fixings in for homemade ice cream. And it was always peppermint ice cream, and it was my favorite. And he made it green because I was a little kid. I am freezing. But yeah, that's what he did. He worked in Welch's my entire life. I mean, but he did all kinds of things, just not the margarita machines solely, but all kinds of things. So
that's pretty cool. Yeah. And like, to kind of give a little context, her grandpa was from Ireland. When he passed away, her mom had received, I don't know if it's the right term, but the shadow box and all the medals. Mm-hmm. Her grandpa was a certified badass.
That's cool.
There was a lot of metal there.
Grandpa was a gunner, and we didn't know. And the bubble, that's what he did in the military, and we didn't know. A lot of the cool stuff, you don't want to tell your kids. You don't want your kids to be part of that. So we got to learn a lot about my grandfather after he passed. So yeah.
Yeah. So you moved to Wichita.
I moved to Wichita. Moved here. Was here most of my life since then.
Yeah.
Yeah, most of it.
What high school did you go to that night when you were here for high school?
Truesdale.
That's a
when I moved
it?
here for high school, I drove past Derby. I was supposed to go to Derby. My mom and dad lived in Derby, and I told my mom I was not going to go to a high school that looked like a mall. So I went to South. I was at South less than a day, and I got in a fight. And then I didn't go back to school.
Did they kick you out?
No, I just left.
Yeah. I got expelled from South.
Yeah, I didn't like South.
Mm-mm.
So what'd you do after high school?
What I did after high school, I came here. I started working, like most people, at fast food. I worked at Papa John's making pizza, and then I went to work for Protection One, which is, I think, ADT, or I did dispatch. And then, I kind of floated around for a little while. Like, I didn't have any plans. I kind of fell into telecommunication. I worked for Big Bell, those landlines that nobody has anymore. I worked for Southwestern Bell for about 2.5 years, and then I started working for a small company that did telephone service. I did customer service for them for, 6 years. And went to work for another company doing the same thing. Did customer service for a long time.
What's the hardest part about customer service?
Customers. It's having somebody scream and yell at you, and you have to sit there on the phone, and you're like, I completely understand your concerns.
Did you ever get back at them?
I used to turn their services off just because, well, don't be a butthole to me, and I won't be a butthole to you. I mean, I was the only one that at one time that knew how to repair telephone lines. Like when you switch your services, you've got call forwarding, call waiting, all that type of stuff. I would just switch their lines over and give them nothing. They'd go to pick up their phone and they'd get the beep. And then they'd have to call in, but they don't have phone service, so they'd have to use somebody else's phone. And then they would call and say, well, the last person that did this wrong. And our customer service would be like, oh, well, let me get you over to Danny. And then you'd get somebody on the phone and they'd be like, well, I want to talk to a man. And I'm like, okay, well, you can talk to a man. However, the man's not going to be able to help you. They're going to turn around and send you back to me. So you can either talk to me or you can not have phone service.
I never understood being rude to customer service people because you're like asking them for a favor. You know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
you need them to help you.
Yep. The whole, you kill people with kindness. Be nice to people who do customer service. It's not their fault your stuff don't work. It's not their fault that you're having a bad day. Just be nice. It's not hard.
Yeah. So her customer for service voice, she has helped me out a few times by like making phone calls for the company. And she's been hung up on by my customers because it sounds like a recording. Like it is so on point. It sounds like a damn recording.
I've gotten that too when I answer the phone. People are like, is this actually you?
Yeah.
You get that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is this a person? Or they'll sit there and you're like, hello? Oh, you're a person? Mm-hmm. How can I help you? Yeah.
Yeah. So you said there was no fly zones.
There's
So
no fly zones.
all right, tell us about your early adulthood personal life.
So my biological dad passed away when I was 18. Massive heart attack. I was seeing some man. We'd been together a few months. And that kind of pushed me into the next step. You know, I didn't want to die early like my dad did. I wanted to live life. So the next step was getting married. I got married at 19. Prior to getting married, we were having fun one night at a party. At our house, we used to host all the parties, of course, and he laid hands on me. In front of all my friends, he threw my best friend's boyfriend into a microwave, busted the outlet. He broke down our bathroom door to get to me. I don't remember a whole lot from that night. I just know at one point he had me by the throat against the wall. I left, and like a dummy, I went back because, you know, you can change. You know, he made the promises, all the promises, that things are going to be better, I'm going to get help, I'll never drink again, those type of things. He isolated me from my family and my friends, and at one point we moved to Texas. I was still working here in Wichita, so I would come home. I would work Monday through Thursday. I'd take off Thursday night and go back to Dallas. He broke my jaw, broke my ribs, black eyes. Our first fight was over a fish tank, the light not working. But like a dummy, I married the man. I married him, and it just got worse once we got married. Once he moved me out of Wichita from my friends, it got real rough. I felt like I was walking on eggshells, and I finally got the courage to leave him. And he was supposed to go to Arkansas to work on his family's house there. He was in construction, and I packed all my stuff and left. He came home to an empty house. I'd already had a restraining order on him, and he broke through the restraining order several times. And yeah, it got to the point where it was either I leave or I take my life. And there were times that I thought about it. But I wasn't going to give him that satisfaction because that would have been the last thing he would have taken from me. So I left.
Did you get any, did you have any like friends or anything like giving you like, hey, don't be doing this beforehand?
The day I got married to him, my stepdad, which is an amazing man, he took me aside in the bathroom. I was getting ready, and he said, "You don't have to do this. You can leave. We can just get in the car and leave." And I wish I would have listened. I really do. It wouldn't have put my mom and dad through so much.
And during this time, did you have ever feelings of it'll get better? Like, did you tell yourself that ever?
I did. I told myself it's going to get better. He's just under a lot of stress right now. His job, it's going to get better. He stopped drinking. He stopped drinking for about 6 months. But he was still the same man. The drinking was just an excuse.
Looking back, were there any signs?
Oh, there were signs, several signs. Silly signs, little signs. When we got together, he was that preppy guy that wore all, at the time it was Structure. I don't know what it's called now. All kinds of name brand. Everything had to be name brand. And I was more alternative. I wore the big baggy pants. I had different colors in my hair. I had piercings, and he kept trying to change those. I'd come home and there'd be a present. There'd be a gift. And it'd be clothes that I would have never worn. And he'd be like, "Why don't you go out? We're going out tonight. Why don't you put that outfit on?" There were little signs. Started changing who I was hanging out with. This is my friend. Why don't you be friends with my friend's girlfriend, my friend's boyfriend, whatever. I couldn't go anywhere by myself. He was constantly there. If I had plans to go out for the night with some of my girlfriends, he'd start a fight, so I felt horrible the entire time I was out. There were a lot of little signs that I chose to ignore.
When you left, did you have somebody that helped you like make the decision, or
I moved in
like
with my
push
mom
you?
and dad. I called my mom, told my mom what I was doing. My mom and dad didn't really know the gist of everything. They knew kind of what was going on, but they didn't know how bad it had gotten. I was good at hiding it. I was very good at hiding it. Makeup, big shades, ball caps. And he was good at putting the bruises where you couldn't see them. So.
Did he ever show up at your mom and dad's after you moved back?
He did. He showed up in my mom and dad's house. My mom and dad told him I wasn't there. They got into an altercation at one point. I believe the cops were called. He showed up to my work. He got into my car. I had to change jobs.
When you had like broken ribs and stuff, did you go to the hospital?
Once,
Did they say anything at the hospital to you about it?
yes,
You cover for him?
I did.
That's tough. Did it ever come to a head? Do you ever feel like it ever got to a point? Like, what did it look like when he finally just got the hint and quit?
I moved in with a man. I moved in with a guy I worked with. And he took that I moved on. And he stopped. He stopped for a while. And he'd see me out, and he'd say things about me loud enough that I could hear.
So, like, he moved back to Wichita, too?
Yeah. His family was here.
Gotcha.
His dad was in Dallas, and he moved to be near
Yeah.
his dad. So yeah, his family was here. And that scared little girl still, if I still see him out every now and then, that scared little girl shows up again.
if you like had to if you had to like say something, if someone else was in a similar situation but needed like a wake up thing or like a confirmation, would you like, is there a sign you tell them to look for or something you would say?
No matter how hard it is, you're not alone. You're not. There's always someone there, whether you know it or not. Somebody know. You're not hiding it. The only person you're hiding it from is the abuser. You're giving him that satisfaction. If I would have known then what I know now, there are so many different programs out there to help people in that exact same situation. I didn't know it. I didn't know about any of them. It's not you, it's them. I always thought it was me. If I was a better girlfriend, if I was a better wife, I did this better, he would love me. And it's not about love. It's about destruction.
Control.
It's completely about control.
I'm like angry right now.
Yeah. Well,
And then you said he's still around
Let me hit the
town.
crescendo here because this is, it was a learning moment for me. So, yep, this is Karma. He's a fat little dude now. We saw him, 6 months ago?
Yep.
And, I've been waiting because she wouldn't tell me when she saw him. And we were sitting there and he's, 10 feet away with his fat, ugly wife. And he's out of shape and he ain't anything. And I was like, okay, this is going to be just okay tonight. And she's like, look what he has going for him. Karma's enough. Let it go. She's telling me to let it go. Like, I wasn't hyped up. I wasn't screaming in his face. I was just, all right, well, I guess wherever we are, we're going to leave at the same time. Make it quick, make it ugly. And she's like, nah, let him live his life now. He's earned everything he's got. Because, he's just a fat little troll now. He thought he was hard. And, if he sees this and he wants to make an issue of it, you know where I'm at.
Yeah. How hard was that for you?
Incredibly. I had to remember who the victim was and put what she needed, what she wanted first.
Good point.
And she wanted to let the past be the past. And it's like, that's, I think that's something a lot of people that, want to do stuff like that to kids and women and stuff like that. They don't realize those kids grow up. Those women get remarried. Those women have kids that grow up, and like, I think that's like the one universal religious thing in the world is you reap what you sow, the karma. I think almost every religion has that one thing, whether they call it one way or the other. So it's kind of something we can all agree on. And, I don't have to be the teacher. Yeah, it was incredibly hard. So, yeah. But you got away.
I did. I got away. He took everything from me. And I realized I could build my life my way, do things my way, how I wanted, when I wanted. And I did. I built a life.
Yeah. With some pit stops. Come on.
With some pit stops.
Come on. Let's get it moving now.
So, like I said, I married a man, or I moved in with a man that I worked with. We had more of a friend relationship.
That's what I was going to ask. Were you guys like dating or just a...
He was going through a divorce. I was going through a divorce. We kind of...
trauma bonded?
Kind of. And we moved in. We started kind of dating. After kind of dating, we kind of got married. And then we kind of had kids. 3 beautiful girls. And then I stopped and realized everything that I wanted everything that I was running from. There were certain attributes from that first marriage that were good attributes. I mean, he had good things about him that I needed in a man. I needed in a partner. And I woke up one day and realized I didn't really have a partner. And I'm trying not to speak ill about the girls' dad, because he did have a lot of things that were good about him. But we were two very, very different people. We wanted two very different things out of life. And he was more of a friend. And I wanted our girls to see what a positive relationship looked like. Mm-hmm. And there was a lot of fighting, and I didn't want that for my kids. I didn't want them to see that. I didn't want them to have that. I wanted them to have what I think every parent wants for their kids, a role model for their kids.
Yeah, love and positivity, not
yes,
not normalizing anger and resentment. And
yes,
fighting.
And the house, you could walk in the house and you could feel the tension. Mm-hmm. And he was never around. He was busy doing his things. I was busy doing my things. And at that time, I was raising 3 kids. Our youngest at that time was just a few months old. And I kept trying, okay, if I go through counseling, I was going back to my old way of life. If I was a better wife, if I was better. And that wasn't, I realized that that's not the way to live. So we divorced. And I raised 3 daughters. I started raising 3 daughters. And I was making a life for myself. I didn't want a partner. I didn't want a relationship. I wanted a life with my kids, and my kids were coming first, no matter what. I worked 2 jobs. I had been a preschool teacher while my kids were little. I fell into it, like I fell into a lot of things. I was looking for daycare for my oldest, and while I was looking for daycare, I was doing an interview with this daycare, and the woman asked me, "So are you going back to work?" And I said, "Yes." And she said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I don't know." And she said, "Have you ever thought about teaching?" And well, not really. And she said, "Why are you going back to work?" And I said, "Well, because I need to raise my kids." She said, "Would you like to work here and become a teacher?" And I did. Sure. And I did that for 6 years. I was a preschool teacher for 6 years. And then I went into banking. And then I met a man. I was moving my kids. We were moving from one apartment to another. Called my best friend in the entire world, went to high school with him, called him, said, "I need some help." And I'm moving from one apartment to another. And he says, "Okay." I said, "Can you bring me help?" And he said, "Yep." And he showed up to my house with a friend. And I lean over and I'm like, "Hey, that friend's kind of hot." And yeah.
Oops.
Yeah.
I like Joe's version where he's like, "Man, like, what's up with you and this girl?"
Right. Well, I totally thought they were an item. I didn't know her, and I knew my buddy. So the other side of this is my buddy's going through a divorce, and I'm going through a divorce, and I was fixing to actually move into his basement to help with bills and stuff. Mm-hmm. And so the day I move in, I'm like, "Hey," I still didn't get it. I still had no idea. I thought that was a thing. And I was like, "Hey, how's that girl doing?" And he's like, "Joe, we dated for a week in high school or something. It was just weird. So we've just been friends for 20 years. So just, she's asked about you though."
Yeah. And I had plans. I had a life for me and the girls. And this man walks into my life with his big combat boots and starts stomping all over it. And it was the best thing that happened to me and happened to those kids.
And I was 23 and totally oblivious to subtlety at all. I had a year sober maybe. And so at the time I was in the union, and they had the union picnic like out at the zoo.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And she's telling me, oh yeah, I'm taking the kids to the zoo this weekend, not aware that I'm going to be out there. And I had met one of the kids, the youngest, Caitlin. She had us over, me and the other guy over for a thank you dinner, made us lasagna. And she's in there talking on the phone with her mom, making dinner, trying to get it done. The kids are already in bed. And Caitlin was not feeling well. And she has a certain perspective on guys that, oh, I love kids. You end up holding them like a dirty trash bag because you don't know what the hell to do with them. But, I was super familiar with my siblings, being so much younger than me. And she hands me this sick kid. And I kind of tucked her in. And we bonded. We had a moment. And then she went back to sleep and she went back to bed. But I didn't realize, like, Danny was talking about taking the kids to the zoo and found out I was going to be there. And so she started dragging her feet. Like, I was going to be there for this other event. She's like, oh, well, his event will be over. She was being intelligent about the kids, not just running guys through their lives and everything. And I don't know. I didn't know that. I was 23. I didn't have kids. I didn't think about that. And so I was still there and walked up on them. And, yeah. At the time, it was like this cute little thing because she's tiny, and they were 4, 2, and 1, and they're tiny for their ages. I mean, they're just these tiny little people. And you would see the mom and the one kid and the other kid like holding hands, and then another kid holding hands. And it was like, hey, get a hand. And our oldest daughter walked up to me and just grabbed my hand, just beaming at me. 20 minutes later, the next time it was time to grab a hand, we were done looking at an animal. Then number 2 grabs my other hand, and I'm walking through with these tiny little people. And
what's going through your mind when the hand with that day?
I felt betrayed. I mean, here's some guy walk up, and they're like, hey, he's shiny, and they hold his hand.
Like, girls, I've taught you better than this.
Yeah, I'm like, where's stranger danger? But it actually gave me some peace that this man was like, okay, she's got kids. Although I did try very hard not to have him meet the kids for a very long time.
Right. And, I mean, let's get it right. You weren't thinking this man.
No, I wasn't. I was thinking this kid. Because there is an age difference. And I didn't want my girls seeing people come in and out. I didn't want...
Absolutely.
I didn't want that for them. I didn't want them to meet anybody until I knew that person would be in our lives.
Right.
And like I said, big combat boots stomping all over everything I had planned.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was good.
That was awesome, man.
It was.
It was good. I was excited. With my mom being serially pregnant for like half a decade, and me being adopted by my dad, I don't know. I just didn't feel like the kid needed to look just like me. I didn't have any desire whatsoever to deal with another pregnancy. Like, I dealt with my mom's, and I was there. I was being homeschooled. I was there all the time. And my mom was not a weak person or anything like that, but you've got something going on. You need extra help. You need all these things. And I just didn't have any desire for that. And so I'd always kind of thought, hey, if a woman had a young kid and nobody there, maybe it would be a good idea. And I mean, the girls have their dad. He's an all right guy, but they weren't together. And I just kind of reasoned out that these little girls might just be extra fortunate and have 3 people that care about them. And man, they took me on. They took me on all the way. Treated me like I belonged there. And it was from being a single guy to coming home from work. I worked in the trade. I was an apprentice, and these little people just ready to crawl up in my lap and sit, and they'd the care of children. I came home one day, I remember, and it had been a great day, but it was such hard work. And that day was hard work. And I fell asleep on the couch, and I'm probably snoring like crazy, mouth open on the couch, didn't try to go to sleep there. And my middle daughter brings her blanket off her bed that's, a child's blanket. It's the size of a towel, and realizes that that's not doing the job. And it was like the middle of August. And so she had ended up dragging out like half the blankets in the house and covering me with them. I woke up soaked. But you know, it's funny, but the amount of care, you know, as much as I could care for them, they cared for me too. You know, they allowed me to be there, you know, and, I don't know what it's like to have biological kids. Like, I don't know if it's different, but I don't think that I would accept an explanation from anybody that it is. You know, those girls are my, you know, they're my daughters. They're the only thing I have that I'm ever going to have for kids. That's all I care to have, you know, and they don't look very much like me. They're fairly fair-haired and light-skinned. My middle daughter's clear. You know, but I've been able to contribute to what they're turning into, and I don't know that I've contributed everything good, but I'm so proud of all three of them. You know, it kind of gives the time frame. Today's Mother's Day. You know, we're going to release this in a few months, but my daughter graduated high school yesterday, part of the National Honor Society, and headed to KU this fall. You know, and it's like, wow, you know, from a drug addict and alcoholic and a lady that, you know, got beat in her first marriage and all this, and, you know, some really great things have come through. So
That's awesome. It's a beautiful thing when, like, love wins, right? And kids grow up in a loving environment and they express that love to you, you know, biological or not. You know what I mean? You can't fake that stuff.
right.
It's really awesome to hear.
You know, I did contribute some things. She was trying like crazy. She was a single mom. Them kids were very well behaved. They were, you know, like the first time I gave them watermelon, we gave them to it out. You gave it to them outside because it's a messy food, and they get to one of the seeds and they're trying to talk. You know, they want to know what they do with the seeds. I'm like, you just spit them. No, mom will spank us if we spit them. we'll get in trouble. I said, no, you're supposed to spit these. It's okay. You know, little things like that. Them getting dirty. They were just pristine little children. You know, and I added a little bit of rough and tumble. You know, they when I met them, they got sick a lot more.
Brought some dad into their life, man.
And then they built some immune systems.
Yeah.
Got some pictures of them, you know, covered in mud, because we had like that movie football scene where they're playing out in the mud, like on the longest yard, and everybody's soaked. We totally did that camping, and that was not something that was in the itinerary when I met her.
Man, that's so cool.
But so we met and we got married after just, you know, a couple of years of dating and everything. And I don't know, why don't you, everybody talk, you know, I talk about my perspective all the time. So even though we kind of know the story from there, you tell us what happened.
We got married.
Okay.
What? Can you clarify that a little bit?
Just kind of the progression of things and the work and the, you know, just the way life went. Tell us a little bit about it, you know.
Well, we got married in probably 3, maybe 4 years of our marriage. Joe's been working away from home. At one point, for almost a year, he lived in Great Bend. Great Bend? No.
Garden City.
Garden City. And it was difficult. I mean, Dad wasn't there. I mean, he was. We could talk to him on the phone. Our youngest still, you ask her where Joe is, and at that time it was Dodge City. Little itty bitty thing has this great hatred for a town that she's never been into, because to her it took her daddy away.
So if anything happens in Dodge City, it was Caitlin.
It was Caitlin. She still says Dodge City like that too. But we made it work. He'd come home on the weekend and he'd be there. He'd be there for the entire weekend. He was present. Then he'd go to work. And the girls knew. The girls also knew if they got in trouble, they had to call Dad. And that was one of the worst things for the kids to do, is call dad and tell him what they did. We've, in 14 years, we've seen a lot go through. I mean, most couples do. You go through ups and downs. We lost my dad about 6 months ago.
So, when I met her parents, her mom knew she was seeing somebody. And there was a major disconnect, like a communications error, a massive communications error. So I'm going to meet her parents, and I meet her mom briefly, and we're waiting on her dad to show up, and it's out in public. I think that's probably the reason he didn't swing. Because he walks in, and I'm holding Caitlin, and I'm like excited to meet her dad, you know, trying to make the right impression and go to shake his hand, and he just stares at me. And I'm like, so I handed Caitlin off because I thought, okay, you know, if that's what he wants to do, I mean, let's be fair here. Let me put the kid down. And he just, hey, stop a second, let me go. And he walked off. And he comes back and he said, hey, this isn't your fault. Nobody informed me. Nobody told me. And I walk in and this guy's holding my granddaughter. I don't know what's, you know. And then, you know, that was a few months later than the first Christmas. And there was a communication problem in their family at the time. And I was the butt of the joke because I go outside. I was a smoker. And her dad didn't smoke. He loved the smell of cigarette smoke. Like, he loved being around it, like while I was having a cigarette. And so we go outside and he looks at me and he goes like, and I can't tell if he's screwing with me or not, but he goes, hey Joe, where do you live? And I stare right at him. I'm staring him dead in the eye and I'm like, with your daughter? And he's like, I still to this day don't know if he actually knew or what. I was just like, good Lord. You know, fast forward several years, and when I opened the business, her dad was an electrician for 20-something years. And he had kind of got himself to a spot where he didn't have to make the money all the time. And I don't know if he'd already quit his job or what, but he decided to come to work for me. And I mean, the work wasn't consistent, but I paid him decent. Not what he could make, but I paid him, you know, decent. And he loved going to work with me. And we actually became really, really close friends. You know, towards when he started to get sick, he would just come to the shop for a half a day and just tinker with stuff and mess with stuff. And when we really started to come close, you know, I visited some, you know, they don't live far from us. And he would have conversations with me even when I wasn't there, talking about going to work and talking about Monday and talking about all that. And all that being said is, you know, he was a very special person who has that. I didn't try to have a bad relationship with my in-laws, but whose father-in-law tries to be their actual friend? Mm-hmm. Whose father-in-law actually tries to get that close? And he did, I mean, to the point that, you know, he would talk to her in his delirium, but he would talk to me and he'd talk about work and he wanted to go to work and he wanted to see that new cool thing we were doing, you know, whatever was going on in his mind. Those were some of his closing thoughts. And he was a great man, but, you know, I was trying to cut some relief for you, so pick it up.
So we're living life like most married couples do. Kids getting in a little trouble at school, but pretty much good kids. COVID hits. Joe is, like most people, he's got a job, and they laid him off. And I'm still working. By now, I'm working for an orthodontic company, which I've been with my doctor now for, I think in April, we celebrated 12 years. Love my job, love the people I work with. Awesome people. And I'm still necessary. They closed our office down for 8 weeks, but I'm still necessary, so I'm going to work. And Joe's laid off. And we're doing all kinds of things, including driving an excavator into our living room during COVID, because we're working on a house. And everybody's working on their house. And we found out while working on our house that our foundation is crumbling. So we've got to fix it, or our house is going to cave in, basically. So during this, we are working on our house, and Joe comes up to me and says, I'm thinking about opening a company. I don't know how long this is going to take. I don't know how long I'm going to be laid off. And I need to make money for my family. I need to support my family. So he has this idea to open a company. He'd been doing HVAC for a long time. He had, at that time, I don't think you had your master's, right?
No.
He starts studying. He's got the skill. He's got most of the knowledge. He's just got to get the paper. So he starts taking classes and opened a company. While everybody else during COVID is being laid off and companies are closing, we open J. Fry Enterprises. And what people don't tell you about small businesses is it's a small business and it doesn't have working hours, because after working hours, there's still phone calls to make. Holy moly, there's so much to go into a company, and people don't realize how much goes into these small businesses. There's no manual that says this is how you do it, and you have to pay your taxes, and you have to do this, and you have to do that, and you have to get licensing, and you have to do this. When it's a small company, it's just you. And he had me, but I don't know a whole lot. Just like him, I'm just trying to help him figure out things. And we opened, we did not, Joe did. It's all on Joe. He's the one that opened it, J. Fry Enterprises. Because during COVID, when everything's closing down, and what do you need? You need comfort. We're all home, we need comfort. And what's comfortable? It's your HVAC. And that's what he went into.
Speaking of J. Fry Enterprises.
So here at the Joe & Co podcast, we definitely encourage everyone to get out of their comfort zone. But at my other business, J. Fry Enterprises, we do air conditioning. So we absolutely want you to stay comfortable through the summer heat and the winter cold. Give us a call at 316-727-4651.
So Joe opened J. Fry Enterprises. Like I was saying, small businesses, you don't have vacation, you don't have office hours, you don't have anybody to fall back on except yourself. And it was hard. Starting a company's hard. We didn't know where it was going. We didn't know if it was going to take off. We didn't know where the money was going to come from. And when we first started, I remember the first phone call we got for J. Fry Enterprises, and he got the job. He landed the job. We had already scheduled a vacation, and we weren't going to not go. But up until we got on the flights, we were like, should we be spending this money? Should we be doing this? Should we? And we decided we were doing it. And we're sitting in Mexico, I think it was first thing in the morning. And I come out of our room, and he's sitting there with a cup of coffee, and he turns and looks at me, and I will never forget the smile on his face. It was pure joy. He said, I got the job. And it's like that every time he gets the job. You can just see the smile on his face, the joy.
I just want to Do you know like that first job or like what she's talking about? Do you know that whoever hired you for that well or anything?
Do you know who it was?
I don't.
I don't right off.
I'm just like picturing to them, they're just like, yeah, I got this fucking HVAC company coming out. Yeah, whatever. But for Joe, this is like a moment, you know?
I believe it was probably an installation job. You know, and when I first started, I got a lot of sub work from other companies, so this may have been like one of my first actual installations that's by me, through me, my customer, the whole deal. And I don't exactly know which one it was. I've got a list of 3 or 4 customers because they're still customers, which is kind of cool. But I don't know which one was that day.
Okay. It's just funny to think about them. Like, that's not a moment. Yeah, I had a guy install AC one time. Like, but for Joe or for you, that's
It was huge.
Yeah.
It was so huge. And then there were some months where we didn't get calls. And money got tight. I had to get into my 401k at one time. Got into my savings. It got tight. It got real tight. And he come up to me at one point when it was tight and said, I think I'm going to get a part-time job. I said, no, if we're going to do this, we're going to do it. Unbeknownst to him, I had been running through my savings. I was running through my 401k. But I had faith in him. I had faith that this was going to come through, that J. Fry Enterprises was going to be J. Fry Enterprises. And I tried, I think, as a wife, I was trying to support his future. But it's not just his future, it's our future. And there were times I'd get in the shower. He'd tell me something, I don't know what we're going to do this month, bills are getting tight. But I know I have this job that should be coming through, and I have this job that should be coming through. And I'd be like, that's great, baby. And I'd go in and take a shower, turn the shower on, and I'd bawl. I'd just bawl. But I couldn't let him see that because you can't. I mean, I couldn't let him see that. I couldn't let him see that I was worried. But the phone calls started coming. And then it got to the point where he's like, hey, I got to hire somebody. And he'd hire somebody, and the phone calls kept coming. And I started to see some money in the bank accounts that were dwindling. And yeah. And now occasionally you'll call J. Fry Enterprises and you get, hi, thank you for calling J. Fry Enterprises. This is Danny speaking. How may I help you? Mm-hmm. And I still get the, are you a person? Yep, I'm a person. What can I do? I'm calling Joe. Okay, I can help you. So, yeah.
That's awesome.
So, like, she helps in so many ways, like the stories about her carrying us financially. Like, I think I have some leadership quality, but I think there's some leadership quality that she has.
Absolutely.
Because she wouldn't let me see that. And then when things started to go a little better and I might have relaxed a little bit, then she told me that story. Like straight light the fire right back under the feet. Like, keep running, keep going, keep going.
Strategic decision.
Absolutely. But one of the lessons I'm learning in business is to put people where they, have people do things. And, we had never had a trouble working together. We've never had a trouble working together. She's actually gone out in the field to help me, when I've just, jammed up and I need that one last person that, she doesn't know how to do air conditioning, but she's willing to help. So I tried to, she always had Fridays off, and I was like, well, hey, maybe I can start working her Fridays and then Thursday, Fridays, and start working her my way. But I totally didn't understand how technologically ignorant I am. Needing a flyer built, needing just things cleaned up, the computer, things that I'm like, hey, I probably got enough work for her for 2 days a week, indefinitely. So by noon on the first day, she's like, okay, what else? And I was like, wow, this is kind of embarrassing, super humbling experience, because that would have taken me 3 days. I was giving her the benefit of the doubt she could get it done in 2. And half a day in, she's, mostly doing it. I think the only thing we've ran up against that you didn't take to was the bookkeeping. And that was totally okay because, it just worked out. When we figured that out, a bookkeeping company was recommended, and I pay that every month. And it's not cheap, but I don't want it cheap. I want it done good, or done well, rather. And like for what I would have had to pay to learn how to do it or to have her taught how to do it, it was worth it. But everything, all the time, she's just always willing to help.
I'm just picturing little Danny pressing a condensing unit up over her head and on like a rooftop or something.
Oh, yeah.
You should see me in the condensing unit, like cleaning it out. Got mud everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah, she's sharp. She is. I was jammed up one day, and I had tons of things breaking, and I knew there was this appointment on the other end of town. It was a scheduled maintenance, and I'm like, I don't like to be late. I don't like to cancel on somebody, especially something that's scheduled out a few weeks. That's so simple. And so I called her and I said, hey, grab an impact and the garden hose and this and this and this, and call me when you get there.
That's awesome.
Were you scared when that happened?
I was scared to death. I thought I was going to break something. I really did. He's making it sound so easy. And it's not. It's not easy. He makes it look easy, but he's got 15 years of experience doing it.
Right. She literally made one mistake that big. She's meticulous, so everything was done, and the fan motor outside was just a little too close. She didn't know to like feed the wires back just a little bit, and so it clipped the fan. It's a 3-minute fix. It didn't happen while she was there because it was just tick, 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 until the wire was cut, and I went over there and apologized. And but you know what? It just gave me an opportunity to stand on my reputation, and people were like, "Oh yeah, something happened, and he was there." Now,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, she could have ran a self-tapper through a coil.
Oh, goodness.
I know better to do that.
yeah, I mean, this last winter, I was just flush with stuff to do for like a few weeks and needed to hurry up, and she just sat there and put together the drain traps and put them in the furnace and just built them, put them in all the way, so that all I had to do was screw the union on at the very end. She's, how many wives are out doing that? How many wives are out, just working with their hands, and like, it's not her job.
Yeah. It's cool how she believes in you and it materializes in all these ways. Like, you guys are like a friggin' power couple, man. I love it.
The only time that I saw the lack of belief, and it was momentary, and it wasn't about the business. When she says I drove an excavator in the house, our beams were like, I could stand. If the three of us stood together, we probably would have broke the floor. It wasn't a good situation. The crawl space was only like just barely enough. I could barely squeeze through, so I couldn't like re-beam it. So she was gone for several hours, and we talked about it. It's not like I just did this out of the clear blue, but I think she didn't have the mental image in her head what it was going to be like. So a few hours later, like the next day, I've ripped down all the lath and plaster. I've cut the entire floor out. I've temporaried some things under the center of the house to support it and cut the beams. So when you walk into my living room, dining room area, that's like the one whole giant room in the front of the house. And you walk in and there's a 4-foot, or at the time there's only like a 2-foot drop, but it's just a big hole. That it's a gutted interior of a large room that's, half of our house, and it's a giant gaping hole.
Yeah, there's not a wife out there that's going to sit well with, regardless of if they knew or had an idea.
She started crying, and I got so mad. Like, you see what I did? I'm doing good stuff. Why are you crying at me?
So it was a shock. It was.
It's alarming.
I'd helped take down the Latham plaster, so I had that imagery in my head. I knew what we were looking at. It just, when you walked in, it hit me that if something were to happen, I don't know how to fix it. And that's what that fear was I knew he was going to do it. He would fix it. It would look like a house eventually. What I didn't have in my head is what would happen if something happened to him. I have no idea. I don't have the knowledge. I mean, I can put up sheetrock. I know how to do that. But I didn't have any knowledge on how to fix a hole. And it wasn't just a hole. It was half of my house is dirt.
Mm-hmm.
Literally dirt. And then he tells me, oh, yeah, we've got to drive the excavator in. Okay, I understand we got to drive an excavator in. What I wasn't putting into thought was, how's the excavator going to get in the house?
Oh, we're just going to have to make a big garage door for it.
Yes, we're going to have to take part of the wall out.
Right.
And it was very shocking. And I think it just hit me, like all at once. I'm going to have a giant hole in my house. And now I can see dirt. And this isn't going to be something that's going to be fixed tomorrow. It's not going to be something that's going to be fixed next week. It took
A year.
A year. And we lived in half of our house for a year.
Like, our bedroom's pretty large. We had actually merged 2 bedrooms. And so our bedroom's pretty big. That's where we ate dinner for a year.
Yeah.
And watched TV.
Yeah, we had like the kitchen, the laundry room, bathroom, and then our room, and then the kids had their rooms upstairs. Mm-hmm. Front door, like where the from the kitchen into the living room, I put I insulated a piece of plywood and stuck it there and screwed it off. Mm-hmm. It was no longer part of our house for a year.
And mind you, at this time, Joe is not a small man. He lives with munchkins. I mean, the girls aren't very big, but at the time we had a 206-pound English Mastiff that was running through the house and a 96-pound boxer that was also running through the house, and they weren't allowed upstairs, so they were right there all the time. And we made it. We didn't kill each other. We actually got along really good through the whole thing. And most people, that's one of the things that start a fight, is renovating.
Yeah, yeah.
And we didn't kill each other.
No.
Especially when it's like, if your husband owns a house building company and he's been doing that forever, it's like, I doubt that wife has a lot of concern. Like, this guy's built people's dream homes, right? But like most average homeowner guy that knows his way around some stuff is like, well, I can do this. I've did some remodel before we sold our house with me and my dad, and it came out great, probably not to Andy's standards and some of the sheetrock we did, but hey, it looked great. Looked way better than it did before. But like a dirty little secret is, tell me if I'm off on this, but all those doubts you have in your mind, of like, can he do this? Like, we have the same doubts in our mind as we're doing the things, like, we're going to figure it out, but like, we don't have the full confidence of like, here's my checklist, here's this, here's that. Like, there's a lot of learning curve when you're doing stuff for the first time on a house like that. It's intimidating.
This is one of the rare occasions where...
Not for you?
Not really. I mean, did I know every detail of every part? Right away, no. Like, I knew how to wire outlets and I knew how to do stuff like that. But I called her dad for, okay, what's the right way to go from one outlet to the next, so that it's not some DIY stuff. So
right.
When the next homeowner gets there, it's done some weird way. But I knew I could do it. When I was jacking the middle of the house up to re-level the house, I've done a lot of larger steel welding and stuff like that, or at least been part of those projects of moving things that are extremely heavy. So I had really good concepts of the scariest parts.
Right.
I'd framed some houses in high school, so I had a good context on everything. So and definitely not trying to be arrogant. I had stuff to learn. There was parts where I asked, like, hey, how would, I went over, I have a neighbor who does some custom building stuff. And I'm like, hey, I've got this part sagging and I really don't know the best way. I could do 100 things.
Right.
What's the best way? And he'd help me, tell me, hey, just do it this.
And I think that's part of it too. What I'm talking about is like, we're going to get the information. Like, we might not have it all right now, but we're damn sure not going to tell you that,
Right. Yeah.
Like, I'm trying to sell it as like, nope, we're good. We got it covered. Just need X, Y, and Z.
I have learned the best way to not freak my wife out is to find a video or find something like pictures so you fully understand. Like, it's like, hey, we're going to rip the floor up and do this. It's like, okay, but they don't understand what that looks like when the floor is ripped up. It looks like your house is gone. You know what I mean? And so I learned that I need to show her pictures or whatever. It's like, so you have a full understanding of, like, when I say we're just going to tear the tub out,
Here's the slideshow.
like, it doesn't mean there's just like a flat area there with no tub in it anymore.
Right. Looks like sheetrock in a corner of a wall.
Right.
Yeah, it looks
like an atrocity.
Yeah, it looks bad. And now that because I remember we used to just have a tub and no shower, and she wanted to shower, so we put a shower in. And I remember I was working on it. She came home from work and was like, "What do you?" And like almost started crying. And I'm like, "Don't worry, it'll be done by Sunday."
When she went in the other room, she cried.
No, she went in there and started helping me.
Oh, okay.
Because I was like, "Hey, get in here! I need your help." Because we're trying to line up, surround, and all this stuff. And
Like, if you want to take a shower this week, grab that hammer and get in here.
yeah, actually, it was done Saturday. It was a Friday night. We were done Saturday. It wasn't on Sunday.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's a part of construction I don't really do well, is like tubs and stuff. So
They say kitchen
right.
and bathroom remodels are the worst. We gutted our bathroom, and it was like, you get to the bare bones of it, and you realize, like, oh, there's so much more things that need addressed now.
Oh yeah.
It's never a simple swap out.
Yeah, but yeah, that's the tip, is make sure your wife fully understands what it looks like when you're going through this, because you can say, oh, we're just gonna tear the floor out and put in some new beams, we're good. It's like, oh, okay, I can. And then you go in there and there's a hole, and you just missing your house. You're like, what? Mm-hmm. But you said, and yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It's like I said, it's Mother's Day, and she didn't want to come on here.
Happy Mother's Day.
Thank you.
But just the level of support that I get all the time, I want to highlight, and I want people that are thinking about entrepreneurship to see there's an effect on the family. Mm-hmm. I mean, just like alcoholism, and because they're not all positive effects at times. It's not all easy and simple and all of that, The amount of sacrifice that my wife makes for me, I mean, on top of the business, our philanthropic endeavors that we're all part of, our extra stuff, the amount of phone calls, the amount of times that we're sitting watching movie, and I need to go take this, and it's a customer, or it's somebody that needs the help in recovery, or it's this or it's that. She talked about me being present when I was first coming around, and I try. I just sometimes it's like I got to be present in so many places at once at the exact same time, and I fail, and I'm gonna fall short, and I don't take it for granted. I don't take for granted that she's sacrificing that time. I don't take for granted that when I'm out helping somebody, that's a sacrifice by her too. And it's come to some things at times like that. I remember, we went and helped redo a basement for one of the guys several years ago. And it was like the third weekend in a row, and I'm living in Garden City. And so I come home from Garden City, and I literally get up Saturday morning. I've been home for a night, and I work all day Saturday, go out with the guys on Saturday night for a thing, and then half the day Sunday, come home with enough time to pack and leave. And like third weekend in a row, I'm like, good Lord, that it was one of the guys, and he needed that spot, because his family had changed and he needed extra space. And I'm like, crap, my wife is gonna leave me. And I'm going to hear about this, third weekend in a row. And she came out and thanked me for being the guy that's always there for people. Being the solid guy that will show up where he's needed. And it was like, wow, that is, I don't think if we were wearing in the opposite position that I would have that level of understanding. Be like, damn it, you're my wife, you know, be here with me for a second, damn it. You know, but she does. You know, if I have a gift in my life, it is her. It's, you know, we go out and we ride motorcycles, and I'm not going to say anything about any of the guys, you know, but I think for some guys it is an escape. You know, they get away from the wife and kids. They don't have to be the husband or the dad. Being her partner is really not at all, not a burden. There is not a thing we do that I don't want her there for. You know, if she can't make it, that's cool too, you know, but, you know, there's not a thing where it's like, man, I really just wish this weekend would be without her. I don't need time away from her. You know, I've been truly blessed with a partner that she can annoy me. Sure. Then I mean, any partner can. Mm-hmm. But I don't ever prefer her absence. You know, I don't ever and have not ever. I mean, I can look and see a pretty girl. You know, I didn't become a eunuch because I got married. But I don't look at anybody else's wife and think they got a better deal. Mm. I don't. Not once. Doesn't matter how pretty, how wealthy, how anything another woman is. My wife's the best wife for me. You know, and that's an incredible blessing, especially when we're talking about being the spouse of an entrepreneur and the BS that she has put up with my ineptitude. You talk about, okay, I was adept enough to read Boo, do part of a house. I'm like a business tycoon compared to what I was the day I started. I was like a little kid trying to learn to roll over. You know, you got to walk before you can run. You got to be able to roll over and stop shitting your pants, you know. And she's put up with all of that with just the faith that I can do it. You know, you asked about the voices, the noise, you know, the negativity from people and stuff. And yeah, I get it, you know, but I've got a driving force right behind me. And it's just absolutely valuable.
That's so fucking cool.
So what you're saying is you couldn't do it without her?
No, I couldn't.
So that's we started J Fry Enterprises.
We started J Fry Enterprises. But what you also don't see is that he's there. Even when he says he's got all this stuff going on, and he does. He has so much going on. But he stops. He takes moments out, even if it's just a few seconds. He's never not been at something for our daughters. IEP meetings, parent-teacher conferences. He takes the time. And the time's not always, I think it's more of the quality of time versus the quantity of time. Because he's got so much going on, and I'm so freaking proud of him. And we talk about he's got J Fry Enterprises. Well, we have J Fry Enterprises. But it's, we're not in this life solo. I mean, I truly believe that he's the best partner for me, and we are reaching for goals. Because if he succeeds, I succeed. I mean, if I succeed, he succeeds. I mean, at the end of the day, it's our life and not his life or my life or their life. It's our life. So I don't see why I shouldn't be supporting him. I mean, we all want to grow and become the best that we can. And I'm just trying to be positive for him. I mean, he's always been my biggest cheerleader. I want to be his.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. And I found out, and we've talked about it a little bit, but I think I'm starting to see the fire start to light, the coals starting to get hot. She's got some ideas. She wants to start something. She wants to start a business, and that's going to give me a drive to get this thing supporting me, get the business supporting the whole household, because she still contributes an amount that I can't do it by myself yet, but get it to the point where we can take her income and roll it back into, because she wants to start
I want to start a coffee shop, a library, bookshop.
I would totally hang out there.
Oh yeah.
She
would kick us out so quick.
She's Danny, and she's an addict. Coffee is. She is actually not. She's a normie.
I too am addicted to coffee.
Were you the one that had the weird cat coffee?
No, I have not had the cat coffee.
Okay.
But it's not cat coffee. It's like some...
You know what I'm talking about.
I do. It's fermented. Yes, the fermented coffee bean coffee. It's like some...
Don't ask.
I'll show you. I want to try it. I do. I want to try it. I mean, why not?
Well, it's fermented. I'm probably not trying it.
It's
when you get the
not
details.
fermented in that.
It's not fermented in that way. It's fermented through...
The beans are fermented.
Like cat urine? Is that why it's cat coffee?
Worse. It's worse.
It's through the body of a living animal.
A monkey, right?
I don't think it's a monkey. I think it's like a lemur type.
Oh, yeah.
Is it a hallucinogen?
No.
Because I've heard I heard something, and this is totally off the reservation, but like about chewing gum, and you chew it up and wrap it in a banana peel and bury it, and then you eat it later, and it's like, I don't know, some South American crap.
I haven't heard that.
So I'm like imagining some like hallucinogenic coffee. It's got to be, picked with the flower off the side of this mountain from Ra's al Ghul's hideout, and and then you got to take some monkey poo and siphon the coffee beans out.
That last part, you're getting close.
Yeah, you're getting real close.
You let the cat urinate on it, because I know it has something to do with cats now.
It's not cats.
Drink it.
It's lemurs, right?
It's like a lemur. It's
Some sort of...
Some mammal eats the beans. They eat the raw cocoa beans or coffee beans.
Coffee beans.
And then they poop them out, and then you go pick the beans out of their poop, and then you grind it up into coffee and make coffee.
No, I don't.
You're right. You don't. You already get it pre-ground. You just have to drink it.
I want to try it.
As long as it's not alcoholic or mind altering, I'll try it. I'll try anything.
Yeah.
I'll eat a bag of pig assholes. I don't mind.
Spicy.
Chicharro knees. Oh man, it's fun.
This has been a good one.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming on. I know you didn't really care to do this.
Thank you for having me.
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am. Thank you.
Did the nerves go away?
No.
No, still? Dang. Well, you did great. Thank you so much for coming on and talking to us about your story, and thank you for everything you do for me.
You're welcome.
Make sure you guys like, subscribe, follow, share. We'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.